boss ladies.
Right, that's what I told Sashel. I was like, I want to find a boss rapper girl.
Yes.
And she was like, have you ever heard of Jessi? Actually, she said, have you ever watched Unpretty Rap Star? And I was like, no. And she's like, okay, well, you should check out the rosters for that. And I suggest you start with Jessi. Jessi's back.
Yes, she is.
Oh my God, dude. Like, okay, so for those of you
lit.
who don't know us at this point, we are the Know-It-All, Not At All Korea podcast. That means we act like we know a lot, but indeed know very little, and we are here to learn. But today, we are here for hype because literally, if you watch us, you know for a fact that we are all hardcore Jebbies.
Oh, yeah.
Jessi is one of our favorite artists. Her story is amazing. Her work ethic is amazing. Her content is amazing. We just love everything about her. And now we get to talk about her amazing comeback.
Yeah, we do.
No, like, she didn't even come back. She just, like, dropped in. Just
straight up, though. She just straight up just came in and was like, I'm a different kind of beat. And I was just like, bro. Like, okay, like, so if you've seen episode 6 on our channel, we did a Shiny episode where we talked about the Shiny comeback. And a huge portion of why we had some reservations, not all, go watch it again. We still are very, very much Charwalls. But it was, we were kind of just like, okay, the comeback song didn't necessarily fit to the people that, you know, it didn't have like a really good like fit for Shiny itself.
In our opinion.
I'm generalizing. Yes. But this comeback was
like Jessi 100%.
Yes, like this is the kind of K-pop we love. And I know it's weird to say because she's technically an American artist, but like if you know her story, so that's honestly what made me a Jebby to begin with. I mean, I was interested in Jessi because that, but mostly because she was an American who moved to Korea.
Yeah.
At what? She was like 15. Right. And she didn't know the language.
Right.
She didn't know anybody there. She just wanted to make music. And she has had probably one of the hardest roads of a solo artist that I've seen because Korea is not exactly super opening and welcome to someone that brash, someone that like, you know, individualistic.
She is very American, we will say that.
Yes. But in the last 2 years, we've got to watch her blow up. And not to say she wasn't already kind of like she was famous, but like she never has to go on another survival show again for the rest of her career, which makes us so happy for her because we know that she didn't want to be defined that way. And just to see this comeback be so Jessi with her singing, with her rapping, the dance, even the dance was so Jessi because it's very minimalistic. I'm going to learn it, by the way. I might throw that video up there. I'm going to learn that dance.
Yes.
It's so minimalistic, but it's so much attitude and it's so just, yes, man. I was so hype at 5 o'clock in the morning. Just like,
I feel you.
Oh, man.
I feel you. We're just like, why can't KST, well, for me, be PST, for you guys, be EST.
Right. My biggest thing was it was really funny because Danny, we've talked about it on this channel a lot that I personally like to stay up for comebacks.
Yeah.
The second they happen. Not for any reason really other than it bothers me knowing that Jessi released a song into the world and I haven't heard it yet. So
you like wake up in your sleep like, nope, need to hear it.
gotta go check YouTube real quick. So I always stay up for the releases and I make sure to send them to my fellow sleepier compatriots.
Yeah.
But today they're like this comeback was just so hype that
I stayed up.
It really kind of for me personifies, and stay tuned for next week because the episode next week is going to be very much about this, but it personified for me the, how do I say this? The westernization of K-pop and like doing it right.
Deep.
Doing it the right way. Do it not like forcing it, but very much embracing. And then we talked about Psy from P Nation being a genius in this because he embraced Jessi in a way that no one has done for her before in her career, and
I agree.
it was such a good move. Like her first like her mini album when it came out, I was like, this is amazing. And then now this, dude.
Seriously, because when like the first time that Sebastian was ever like introducing me to Jessi, he was like, dude, what if I told you that there was like a hot Asian version of Nicki Minaj? So that was my intro to her.
I also said more talented, but that's just me.
But like what I was initially loving her for was like how attractive she was and her skill with rapping. And then the more that I learned about her personality and her attitude and her grit and like how hard she works, I was like really appreciating a more full picture of her as an artist.
Yes.
And I feel like this comeback like represented the full picture of her as an artist and didn't just make her one thing, but it also amplified like who she's trying to be. It made me feel like her work and her music is being taken to the next level. And I want that for her, but I also really appreciate that in K-pop when you feel like your artist is getting to like express themselves genuinely.
Yes.
Yeah. I see what I think is interesting. So unlike you guys, I was slower to like get into Jessi.
Right.
Like you guys were just like, yes, Jessi. And I was like, oh, I mean, the music, super catchy. She's very beautiful, obviously.
Yes.
You know, like there was nothing wrong. I just couldn't like figure it out. And then I saw her on like variety shows. And literally, I love her. Like she's still, I mean, honestly, her Korean is not the best. So it was just really funny to see her navigate like with her very American style. Like shows
She got
like
hood. She got like hood style, bro.
Yeah.
Talking to UJ Suk on Running Man.
Yeah.
Like
their relationship is amazing.
Their relationship was so funny. Like they hated each other, and then she went back on Running Man like shortly after that first one, and they were still just like but like I don't know her whole dynamic. I loved her personality, and then obviously she has like the show review.
Right. Oh my god, that elevated it for me because like I'm gonna talk about the beginning because Sashel says she wasn't super into Jessi, but she was the Nuna. She was that Nuna. Like she showed us,
which is a song that Jessi wrote for. Those
I did.
For those who don't know, I think they get it at this point. But literally, so I was just getting into K-pop, and I was having a hard time getting into female artists in K-pop because the forefront of it is very standard, like Twice and was it Girls' Generation at the time was like kind of like one of the known K-pop
Girls' Generation is a big girl group. Twice, Red Velvet.
Right. Well, Red Velvet I kind of left on purpose because they've been making moves that I've been
I love Red Velvet.
enjoying.
I don't know what
I mean they have some scandals and whatnot, but we're Americans. We have thick skin.
I don't care about scandals.
Yeah, we have thick skin.
Most of the time, unless it's like
right.
Too young.
Scandals got me like, and then what happened?
Or like, we don't talk about
scandals that we care about.
But in this particular case, we didn't. But like those kind of standard K-pop girl groups that Koreans love and a lot of Eastern Asian people love. So I'm not going to tell you to stop, but it just didn't catch my attention the same way that Big Bang did, the same way that BTS did, the same way that GOT7 did.
But to your credit, I remember you being like making a conscious effort to find girls that you like.
Because in actual American entertainment, female artists are my preference. I personally prefer a female voice in my songs. So like to actually have to go and find it was kind of a weird experience for me.
I remember you being like, I want to find some like boss ladies.
Right, that's what I told Sashel. I was like, I want to find a boss rapper girl.
Yes.
And she was like, have you ever heard of Jessi? Actually, she said, have you ever watched Unpretty Rap Star? And I was like, no. And she's like, okay, well, you should check out the rosters for that. And I suggest you start with Jessi. Right? And I was just like, okay. So we put on Down, which if you don't know.
Such a jam.
You need to learn.
Is in a freaking bikini on a beach just chilling with this hot ass dude. And honestly, like, you know, it had a very basic concept. But the thing that really caught me was her vocal skill, like her ability to sing, to rap, and to personify her voice. Because she has a very raspy, very kind of like I don't know, it's a unique voice, man. It's not like a normal, you
It
don't hear
is.
it every day. So I really enjoyed her use of that. I was like, wow, her tone is so clean, and yet she's so raspy.
Right.
She's also really good at rapping. She also has that boop, boop, you know, that like that hood,
Yeah.
you know, that hunger. And I was like, cool. So, but this is kind of an R&B song. Like, this isn't really a rap song, Sasha. And she was like, did you keep looking? And I was like, oh, I
Yeah,
made the
not don't
standard
stop
K-pop
here.
mistake. Because in American culture, man, like you look up one song, it tends to be kind of a sign, like, right? Like if you're like, I want to listen to one Usher song, and you listen to one Usher song, it's kind of like, okay,
You're
like,
like, I know what Usher sounds like now.
right. But for Jessi, it was such a cool experience for me because, you know, Gucci, which is another great song, was way more rap, way more hardcore. And I was like, oh, yes, this is what I like. And Sasha was like, okay, now here's the nail in the coffin. Go watch her in interviews. Because at
They're
this
the
time,
best.
this is 2 years ago now, and she didn't
Yeah.
necessarily have no, you know, presence, but like it was rare to see her. Like I had never seen her on a variety show. I'd never
Right.
seen her on anything like that. So to go and see her like on interviews and see clips of her being a savage, just type Jessi being a savage into YouTube and say
Seriously.
goodbye to your day. And
You're
she's
welcome.
and the thing that I really liked was just how
So good.
honest, because a huge disconnect for me in Korean culture is how willing it seems, again, this is a generalization, how willing it seems that Koreans are to let things slide. You know,
Mm.
like if they feel like they've been disrespected, or if they feel like somebody's like, unless they're like older than you and like flick you in the back of the head or something, like they're usually just kind
Right.
of like, all right, what, I'm not gonna address it.
Yes.
Yeah, walk away. Whereas
Okay.
Jessie's like, what did you say? Yeah, like I loved that when she was talking about her boobs in front of a bunch of Korean dudes, which it's a culture shock for them, man, to hear
Yes.
a girl so candidly talk about her body. Again, this is years and years ago. And she was talking about her boob job, and she was just like, so what? Like, you want them? Like, girls want this size, guys want, you know, like, what's wrong with that? And all these creators are just like, she's saying this on television.
They're all
like,
blushing.
they're like, oh my God, like, what are we gonna do? And that is when I became a Jebby for real. Was just, I wanted to know everything about this artist, because like she's taking the sentiment of Americans that I love, which is the candor, the honesty, and she's in the loudness to say what you speak your mind. And then she's removing the parts about it that I don't like so much, that ignorance, that unwillingness to embrace cultures other than your own. And she's going over to Korea, which has a lot of the same problems in that way of not necessarily embracing other cultures, and just doing it for 15
just
years.
Yeah.
She just did it and never apologized. Never stopped for a second to be like, this is wrong. I need to pivot. I need to change. She's just always Jessi. And to me, that is worthy of standing. That is worthy of a fandom. And I'm so happy she came back. Like, again.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Honestly, I absolutely agree. Like, honestly, I thought Nunu Nana was gonna be like the best thing.
The
'Cause
pinnacle.
that song, yeah, that song is so catchy, and like the dance was good, and she's
Yeah.
always looking good, and it was really popular. And then and then yesterday happened. Or this morning. This morning
technically, yeah.
happened.
I was
Or
thinking the same thing because with the Nunu Nana comeback, it was a whole album with like some ballads on there too.
Mhm.
So I thought that that was really encompassing all different sides of Jessi, and I was wrong because she took it to another level with this latest comeback. Within one song, she's rapping, she's singing, and she's like delivering this really awesome message too.
Yes. And she's swearing, which I
Yeah.
always
and it's a very
enjoy.
Jessie
Yes.
message though.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's the thing that I like about it, is that she's literally so unapologetic. Like she has like I mean all of her songs, most of her songs are like that, where they're
Yeah.
just like, "This is me, deal with it."
You know, also from like a fashion standpoint, she's been that way for a long time.
Yeah.
And some of her like fashion choices have been more elegant and like more like sexy and then
Who that be?
yeah,
Who
that's what
dat
I'm
That
thinking of. And
dress.
drip.
Oh, that's controversial just because she like again, she's bringing that level of sexual energy to a place where they're starting to,
Right.
because of very brave people. Like if you go back even as far as like Sistar, like really shaking the foundations of K-pop with sexy moves and
Right.
revealing clothes. But Jessi just was like, I like this feather that's covering my boobs.
Also, she has this
Yeah,
whole
but I mean, Trip was a whole different story because that was 2 Americans.
Singing in English.
So she's got this
Yeah.
whole one side of her, like the sexy side and the elegant side. But then she also has this side that I really enjoy, where it's like still sexy, but also like Nunu Nana, she's in basketball shorts. Like she really enjoys this like sweatpants kind of a look as well. And
I
I'm
know, but it
telling you,
still looks
dude,
good.
in this music video, she was doing all that. She had this gorgeous nude dress with like a big fur coat. She had this like leotard with like multicolored sweatpants. I've never seen that before. I'm like, dude. Oh my
To
God.
be honest, my favorite part about the video was those yellow pants when she did the like chicken leg dance.
Yes.
I was like, those pants are perfect for this part.
It was just
Yes.
I
great
was
from
like,
like from a visual standpoint for her to be showing all of her different sides and embracing them. Like as a fan, it was just so
It was
like
so cool,
hype.
man.
It was so good
It
to
really
see.
was. I watched it
Yeah.
twice in a row the second it
Yeah.
came out because it was just
Yeah.
like amazing, dude. Amazing.
I
Yep.
agree. And it makes me so happy that she is getting popular or is like maintaining this
She's glowing
popularity,
up.
Right.
being herself
Yeah.
and like just unapologetically. Like I have several friends who are in Korea and from Korea. Um and a lot of them didn't like Jessie until recently,
Right.
you know.
Because
Like,
she
it's a
blew up.
very
Yeah.
recent thing, I think in mainstream Korea
Right. I
to,
think
like, be into Jessie.
it's weird, but I think like the fact that the Western civils, and I'm not just talking America, just kind of like European, everything past like India to the West, started embracing K-pop over the last like 2-3 years in a way that hasn't really happened before. So like there's concepts that are getting brought from the Western hemisphere to K-pop, and one of them is that overt sexuality, right? Like that overt, showing of your body and just
Mhm.
and not really and being positive, like being very sure of yourself, right? And I think that Jessie kind of being true to herself for so long, it was only a matter of time. Like it was only a matter of time before she became the trendsetter for a whole generation of girls.
Ah.
Like when you think of the friendship between Jessie and Hwasa, and
Mm,
he
I love both of them.
what's the chick's name? Oh, Lee Hyori. So Lee Hyori is considered like uh one of the godmothers of K-pop in that way. So she's a badass. You got Hwasa, who's like the youngest of the group, but like up and coming
Still,
badass, right?
Right.
And then
I mean,
Jessie,
she's been in the spotlight for a minute,
right,
so
right, and Mamamoo in general is known for breaking down some boundaries and stuff. So
Mhm.
like the fact that there's this now culture brewing inside of K-pop
Yeah,
where women
boy.
are taking control of their bodies, they're taking control of their image, they're taking control of their careers. And Jessie, just because of the nature of her being her and unapologetically doing what she wants to do for so long, just it was only a matter of time. And that's why we give a lot of shout out. And again, stay tuned for next
Yep.
week where we talk about K-pop in America. But literally, we talk about P Nation and how they're one of the best people for the Western scene. And that's because, in my opinion, the people that he decided to sign, like he just got this really good spread because you have Hyuna and Dawn, who are internationally loved, right? And the fact that they both kind of lost their careers for being in love, like that was an international thing. And Jessi being kind of this outcast in this foreign place, but also unapologetically her. And then
Right.
he kind of like catered to his own Korean crowd by signing people like Crush.
Yeah.
And he just signed Dark. What's his name? The rapper? Is it
Oh,
Ark?
yeah.
Dark or Ark? I don't know much about him. He's young. He's young as hell, but he can spit.
Yeah.
He can spit. But I'm just saying, like
I'm
he's
ready for it.
so like you have this mix now in P Nation
Yeah.
of internationally loved people and Western loved people, and then native Korean loved people. Like they're just doing it right. They're not like shoehorning their artists into one thing. They're letting all of their artists kind of expand across an open. I can't wait for them to drop a boy group.
Yeah, it's so cool.
I can't wait for them to
You've
drop
got
like
this
a group.
collective of different artists who stand for different aspects of Western culture or Korean culture. And you've got Psy at the head of it, who created P Nation. Who, if you don't know him from Gangnam Style, like,
Where did you
let me
come
just tell you
from?
now that this man is a genius at combining Korean and American culture and making something that everybody can enjoy.
If you don't know who
for-
Psy is, like, how was life
Where
on
are you?
Mars, bro?
And he's got a
Like,
squad, dude, at this
Like,
point.
what rock are you living under?
back to obsessing about Jessi, because I could literally never do
Yeah.
this enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Like literally, when she was releasing teasers, right? And they did a good job of this because I follow Jessi, I follow Psy, I follow P Nation.
And P Nation.
So every
yeah.
time a P Nation comeback is coming, my Instagram just gets flooded
Yeah.
with all, and I'm here for
Right.
it. I'm not mad about that.
Yeah.
So when they were releasing the teasers, and I heard that it was kind of more of a rock song,
Mm.
I was excited because I was like, this is kind of Jessi's like perfect place to have those like the edginess of the rock kind of like guitar in there, and then the I'm a different kind of beast that got let out, and I was literally just like, this is about to be my anthem. Like it's only March 2021, and I have an anthem.
You have an anthem.
I have an anthem already. Like that was so fast. Like, geez, man. And you know what? In the future, we're gonna try. We were talking about season 2 for Mixed Edition.
Yes.
Not too long ago, but we're gonna try and do reaction videos. It's a little difficult for us doing it
At the moment.
at the moment. Doing it because we live 3,000 miles away from each
Right,
other.
we're trying to face chat, we're trying to record, and then
Right, and we
also
want-
like screen something on YouTube.
And I'm not calling anyone out
The
here,
computer
but
dies.
we like to keep it real. We want you to have our real reactions. We want the actual reactions, right? So until we figure out a nice way to do that, hey, if you know, don't be afraid to comment.
Right.
Yeah,
Please
How does
save
one
me some time. But we're gonna try and roll that out as season 2 starts to come, because we're officially, as of episode 8, halfway through. Technically this is episode 7. Technically this is episode 7, but as
Right.
we're reaching episode 8, we're halfway through the season. So
Right.
like, as we continue, we're gonna try and add more stuff. We want to give you guys reactions because I think that genuine K-pop love reactions are the best ones. They're like 2 that I always look for. I look for the people discovering K-pop, because that's always so
Those
much
are
fun,
so good.
right.
That's
And then
always so much fun.
and then the genuine lovers of K-pop watching new stuff from people that they love coming out. Like, I think those are the best reactions out there. So we'll work on that. We'll work on getting you guys some reactions, and we're gonna start expanding our most popular segment as of right now, which only has 1 episode. But at our most popular segment as of right now, where we have our 2 beautiful queens talk about dramas that they're watching, we're going to expand that into another segment where we are going to all 3 of us watch. It's not necessarily dramas. I don't know if you can even call it K-dramas, but they're like K-horror and K-thrillers
Well,
and
I
and
mean,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
it's just shows.
Right.
Shows.
More than the romantic stuff. It's not
I
my
mean,
thing.
Yeah. So the thing is when people say K drama, they usually mean romance, but
Right.
K drama counts as everything.
Right. It is
Like,
all
it's just
encompassing.
It's just a Korean show.
Right. I just don't want to confuse people who are like, wait, you guys already react to dramas. Now you're going to react to more dramas?
Yeah.
Technically, no. technically,
Drama Queens is all about the rom-com dramas.
right. It's all about the what kind of is the root and the core of K dramas. Because like when
Right.
you go back to like Secret Garden, which I watched by the way, which a lot of people probably
It's so good. I don't
surprised to
care what
find,
anyone.
but I watched that drama and I liked that drama. But like those are your classical dramas. They tend to be more soap opera in story with like the crazy stuff that happens. But the difference for me between the K dramas and like soap operas is the acting and the character arcs that they build in these stories are
The
just
acting is so much better. It is literally they are just like soap operas, but
with better
the acting
actors.
is so much better.
Right.
Yeah.
And then better writers technically too.
And the writers are better.
And the
Yeah.
cinematography is really good. I think Americans.
Just better. Just better.
It's just better. Yeah. It's like a really good version of a soap opera or a telenovela,
Right.
which is just like extra dramatic, but
Right.
also still really good.
So good.
I'm not
somehow.
sure if this is how it's supposed to be, but like there's in K dramas, it seems like it's supposed to be a fantasy. Like if it's featuring romance and comedy, it's like this this fantasy of romance. So everything is on point. Everything is like to the maximum highest level of cuteness, fashion, like food, and like relationship gushiness.
Yes.
That's true.
And while I kind of am not a part of Drama Queens, just because I don't find like the last one, go check it out. They just did reactions for episodes 1 through 4 for Romance is a Bonus Book, which is having edited some of
Yeah,
it
boy.
is pretty interesting itself. But the reason why I don't necessarily like
a great drama.
romance dramas is just because it's a lot of the same. Like it's really hard for it to stay interesting to me through the whole thing, right? But we
Yeah.
did watch Meow Secret Boy, and I loved that. Like that was a great just the you throw a little twist in there. You throw a little something interesting.
Shout out to Elle. Have fun in the army for the next two years.
Good luck, buddy. When you come back, we'll be here for you, man.
We'll
Like,
be here, Miansu.
and can we talk about real quick? Obviously, we're getting away from the main message, but we'll get back as we do. The fact that idols coming back from military are now getting their comebacks, like it's like the guy said that who corrected us on our last video, our shiny comeback.
Yeah.
Which again, we no problems with
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will be shouting you out soon, bud. Like, just stay tuned.
Appreciate you.
But he also, or she, I honestly have no idea. They type like a dude, but who knows? Who knows?
So do I.
Uh,
And I type like a robot. Anyway.
anyway, they were like, it's really uncommon for idols to come out of the military and then come back. Like it's kind of a newer thing that your career doesn't necessarily end after you
Just
go in the
start over.
right,
Yeah.
right after you go into the military, which
Ooh.
I think is a really cool trend uptick.
Yeah.
But yeah, Elle, we'll be here for you, buddy, and hopefully, 2 years from now, we'll be reviewing whatever you're in next.
Ooh, question.
I'm
So
excited.
if our expectations of Nunu Nana was that this is the pinnacle, this is the climax of badassery that Jessi can,
Sure.
give us. And she blasted it into the next stratosphere. So now we have this new standard. Where do you guys think she's going to go next?
Bro, she's gonna blow my mind.
Where
Seriously.
can,
Seriously, I like at this point, I have no expectations.
Yeah, she's beyond expectations right now. Therefore, like I'm just waiting to see. Like she has blown away the level of creativity that my imagination can come up with.
I agree.
I'm just saying it's rare to me, probably just from my lack of experience with artists,
Sure.
but it's rare that someone can continue to grow with everything going on as far as like pressure from your company or like learning all of the dance moves or making sure the message is on point. Like it is so hard to like bring the X factor for years. This girl's almost had 2 decades of that. Like, I think that it just speaks to her hard work and her dedication. But like, to me, this is just why I love Jessi so much, because I had really high expectations that she cleared, that she changed completely.
She has
She
support, which I think is a big thing. She has support now. She
That's
has someone
hard to
backing
do.
her.
That's hard to do, man.
Right. When you look at like her past work, which you should, like, honestly, like, there's nothing wrong with what she's done before,
Right.
but you can tell, you can see her jumping between trends, but never like moving from herself, never moving from
Yeah.
her truth, but she's still trying to please a Korean audience and still trying to please, like, without knowing the language as well. So like in the beginning, it seemed like she was probably struggling heavily with lack of support, with lack of people actually backing her
Mm.
on the things she wants to do. And the reason why I'm kind of saying that the ceiling doesn't exist for Jessi right now is because now she has like the most support. Like, she has one of the most
Yeah.
influential people in K-pop backing her,
Yeah.
which is like huge. Like, for any star, for any kind of idol, that's a
Yeah,
boon, right? But
I absolutely agree.
it's Jessi. So she got that hustle, man. She knows she's gonna take this and she's gonna blow all of our minds. And I'm ready for it. I'm here for it. I can't wait for it. Literally, like, if I'm like, my heart starts
I'm
feeling like I'm
so
gonna have a heart
excited.
attack, I'm gonna be like, not today, not today. I gotta see what Jessi does next. I'm not going yet.
And just
I'm not ready.
even as like a beginner K-pop fan, I've had the experience now of waiting for a couple comebacks and like anxiously anticipating artists that I love expressing themselves in a new way. And I've had that experience, unfortunately, where either the comeback didn't necessarily deliver from my own personal preference or just from a standpoint of like I felt that my favorite character that I'm watching didn't really get to speak for themselves or didn't really feel comfortable with some aspect of how they're
Right,
presenting themselves. And there was none of that in this comeback.
right.
It was so
No,
refreshing. It was
I
so
felt
exciting.
yeah, I totally agree. I feel like this comeback was Jessi, all Jessi. Like the whole thing.
Well, I mean,
The
like,
whole
if you look,
like 1000%. It was
they
just like Jessi was so comfortable.
I agree with you completely that the finished product was Jessi, but the thing that makes me love Jessi to that like extreme level of like I'm a Jebby is the fact that like Psy and his team compose a lot and like do a lot of like
Oh, yeah.
stuff like that, but the fact that Jessi puts her foot in it, for those of you who don't know, it just means
Putting your spin on it.
puts themselves in anything, makes me kind of like, I'm a little judgmental of groups that don't really work hard to create their own identity,
Mm.
that are just kind of like a mouthpiece for, some producers in a company, right?
Sure.
Which, it's sad that it happens, but it does happen. If you're a K-pop lover out there and you're gonna try and tell me that doesn't happen, you're
I
just
think it's a
lying.
fair standpoint that it's not your jam.
Right.
It's not my jam either.
But to see Jessi have this whole team and have all these people and still go, no, I write my music. Like still be like, I don't, okay, you wrote Nunu Nana for me? Okay, but I'm gonna put my stuff in
My
it.
spin on it.
Right, like
Yeah.
it's going to be Jessi's song. And that to me keeps me coming back every single comeback from Who Dat Be, which was hilarious because we were like getting kind of annoyed with how much promotion they were doing with that song because it was everywhere for a really long time.
Uh-huh.
Who dat
But
be?
then it stopped and we missed it. Like, we were like, wait,
I want to hear that
Where's
song
that
again.
Who Dat Be? Right?
I think she's setting a new
Ass looking
standard.
real good. Oh,
'Cause-
sorry.
No,
it's
I
okay.
can't. I forgot.
we're
I can't
still in
sing
Who
again.
Dat Be though.
We get it though. But yeah, like Danny was saying, it just like it is really such an honor to be a Jebby, to be a fan of somebody who's willing to put their career at stake for multiple times, put their image at stake multiple times, just so that they can give us the realest version of themselves. Like, that to me is why I love BTS. That to me is why I love Stray Kids. That to me is why I love Jessi as an artist. Like, they work really hard to keep their companies happy. They work really hard to keep, Korea happy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they are giving us a piece of themselves. And that is what
Yeah.
makes K-pop magical, man.
Yeah.
It's a piece of themselves.
Yeah, it's not just crowd pleasing, even though crowd pleasing is a part of it. It's
Right.
about true expression, and I'm here for that.
That's what music is, baby.
Right. Like, it's
I am
clear
here
that
for that.
Jessi is working super hard to, like, she's putting herself in all these uncomfortable outfits or, like, all these complicated dance moves.
They do look mad uncomfortable.
You're right.
And what she's projecting is just confidence and comfortability, and, like, she's a queen for that. Like,
well, honestly, this leads to the perfect ending of the video, where we give you our favorite Jessi song to listen to. And if you go on Spotify and type in Buyo Pro, that's BUYEOPRO, it will lead you to a page that has playlists on it. Now, none of our podcast, like Mixed Edition or this podcast, KIANAA, is on Spotify separately. So if you search the name of the podcast, you'll find it. But I made a whole nother page that's literally just Buyo Pro, where you can go on there, and we'll have our podcast playlists on there, and we'll also have a playlist for you guys. Whether you're new to K-pop, old to K-pop, or just want to learn, there are songs there for you to get into all kinds of groups. Right now, at this point, we should have 9 songs on there.
If you want to form your own opinion on some of the stuff that we have been enjoying.
So at this moment, we are going to give you our favorite Jessi songs.
Yes.
So my pick is a little bit strange, because it is from a soundtrack, but it is a Jessi song, and it's from Cinderella and the Four Knights, which is an amazing drama. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. But the song is called My Romeo. So that's what I think everyone should listen to. It's a great song.
That is a great pick, because you get that side of Jessi that you normally wouldn't necessarily see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not the hard Jessi. It's actually quite a soft Jessi. But it's a cute song, but it's still has her flavor, and you can really see. I think it's a really good song.
As usual, my picks are almost always something that I think that new people would like. I like to gear, especially Americans, because I want to get as many Americans on board with this as possible.
Yes.
So my pick is going to be off her latest mini album before this comeback, and it's going to be Numb. Another ballad, another singing Jessi song, and another feelsy Jessi song.
Freaking love it.
But it's in English. And if you know me, I am an advocate for it's better in Korean. Like, literally, like any American song I hear, I'm like, this song would be better in Korean. However, I do think it's important to Jessi and to people who are fans of Jessi that all sides of her get shown, all sides of her get accepted, and that's why Numb is my pick for you to listen to.
So good. I listen to Numb all the time.
I listened to it before we sat down for this podcast.
Yes, Jessi. And that was a really good album, too.
Oh, yeah.
But I wanted to, and I listened to a lot of songs on that album, but I wanted to have my pick be something that's a little bit different, too. So you can get, again, the full picture of Jessi. And so my pick for her, actually, okay, well, I'll say it, is Digital Lover, the Jessi version, because she covers this song that Crush wrote, and I love it. It's so good. It's a shower song. It's a jam, whatever you need it for. Jessi got you, bud.
It's hilarious that all three of us picked ballady singing songs. So just for posterity, Gucci.
My song is not a ballad.
What song is not a ballad?
My song is not a ballad.
It's not?
Have you ever heard it? It's a jam. It's a bop.
Nice.
But just for so that you can also know that she's bad, you should listen to Gucci as well, because that's a great song.
Yeah, but, Gucci. I mean, yes. Any of the songs that we mentioned, listen to the new song. That just that just came
Just listen to all of them. Jessi, if you are out there and for some godforsaken reason you hear the end of this podcast, we love you
so much.
We love you.
Keep going. Keep slaying, queen. You are literally the epitome of hard work leads to good things, and we are here for it. And with that, we say, Annyeong.
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 Monday. wake up.
Hold on.
Tuesday, you let me down.
Hold on. I'll play
Why
my
you gotta do
Romeo.
that?
But it's so good.